The best moment of my life was in court when the guy says, the United States versus John Stagliano. John Stagliano, they mispronounced my name. The United States versus John Stagliano. I'm thinking, wow, I have achieved something in my life.
Hi, I'm Nick Gillespie with Reason TV, and today I'm sitting with John Stagliano, who's the head of Evil Angel Productions, a pornography production and distribution company. We're talking to you right now because you're in DC for a very particular reason. Explain why you're here.
Well, the Justice Department has decided to bring an obscenity prosecution against me for selling 2 movies and also for having a trailer on my website, evilangel.com, that is theoretically available for minors to look at after they've jumped through some hoops and whatever. They could look at this particular trailer, and they're saying that that is obscene.
I should add before we go on that, John, you have contributed to Reason Foundation, the nonprofit that publishes
Yes.
Reason Magazine, Reason Online, and Reason TV.
That's correct, and I was selling Reason on UCLA campus in 1972 in the fall.
Did you sell many copies?
I sold a few. I sold about $40 or $50 worth, and I didn't actually pay Reason back until about 15 years later.
Well, I think
I needed
that you
the
have
money
in the meantime. What are the 2 titles that you are being charged with obscenity for?
The 2 movies are Milk Nymphos and Storm Squirters 2 Target Practice.
John, for somebody who is not who is either not interested in pornography or thinks that porn is offensive, can you, what would you say to them in terms of how what you're doing is really a case of free expression and why everybody who believes in freedom should really be interested in the outcome of your case being an acquittal?
The reason why I think this case is important is because it's another area where the government thinks they should be able to run our lives. And this is certainly an important area where it's art that we consume, it's recreation that we consume, and it's the principle that the government can come in and say, behave this way. And they could easily extend that from looking at porn to consuming fast foods to smoking cigarettes. Oh, they already did that. To all sorts of things. And anything that can develop a constituency for people to want other people to behave in that way is now open in this society where the majority can impose its standards and behavior patterns upon a minority. And that's a very bad precedent to set. And we've already set it in this country, and it's getting worse.
You are going to be mounting a defense. I mean, today you were arraigned and you entered a plea. What plea did you enter?
Not guilty.
Okay, and not guilty of obscenity, right?
That's correct.
And so everybody is clear. Obscenity is a type of expression which is not covered under the First Amendment. So the issue is really whether or not the court or a jury will define your films as obscene.
That's correct.
Okay. And the current guidelines for determining obscenity come out of a Supreme Court case from the early 70s, Miller, in which Justice Warren Burger, the Chief Justice at the time, came up with a 3-part guideline. And he said the basic guidelines for the trier of fact must be first, whether the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest. Second, whether the work depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct specifically defined by the applicable state law as obscene. And C, whether the work taken as a whole, again, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. You are going to be arguing that your material is not, in fact, obscene. Is that right?
Well, there are several things that we're going to be arguing. One of the things is that in fact, this stuff is out there in the community. Both the Milk Nymphos type movies and the squirting type movies are prevalent in adult video stores throughout the area here in Washington, D.C. This is not a conservative area for selling movies. It's also true, and we're thinking about doing an argument like this, is that DVD sales are going down rather rapidly right now, And people are consuming their pornography on the internet.
Right.
And on the internet, it's a vastly different world where there's lots of different things available, and the community standard of the internet is very different.
Right.
The other thing is, when this Miller case came down in 1973, pornography, if it was going to be shown anywhere, was going to be in a theater, which would be on a public street,
Right.
in somebody's small town or in somebody's big city or whatever,
Right.
where everybody could drive by the marquee and see that it's
Right.
there, and their children could see that it's there, and everything would be out in the open. The name of the movie would be on the marquee, and that's a way, way different world than what we have today, where people consume pornography in the privacy of their own homes, more and more so just on their computers, and it's not in the public's face at all when it's there. Right. And this is a completely different world in the applicable law. The law does not apply now to today's world.
But then in the Miller case, there is the question of whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Will you be challenging that?
How do you define art? I mean, art, I think, good art hits you below the cerebral cortex, but like right there in the brain stem or whatever, and he says, oh, I like that, you know? And seeing a beautiful round ass is very artistic, and it hits people. It's like, whoa, that's like, you know, I like ass, but that's like a beautiful ass, so by definition, you've selected something really beautiful of that genre, and that's art. You do artistic selection. The real key here is, this is a way for the average guy alone at home to get off, or girl. I've known a lot of girls that are into stuff like this, especially the squirting stuff, because that focuses on female orgasm. And so it's a real prejudiced movie. I mean, you know, male orgasm's all over porno movies, female orgasm is not. But, you know,
one of the movies was made by a woman, correct?
the trailer was made by Belladonna.
Okay.
And the thing is, pornography is the way for people with less money and less power to get off. If you've got lots of money, if you've got prestige, if you were a king or a nobleman a couple hundred years ago, or if today you're like a high-priced lawyer or a congressman or a senator,
a governor of New York.
or a governor of New York, you can afford call girls. You can get off. You can have your sexual desires satisfied. But if you're a normal working guy, you can't afford that. And this is what you get off on, and this is what your pleasure is, and that's what the government wants to suppress. And that, to me, is just rotten. It's just, you know, kick the bastards out. But it's not going to happen, because they're the ones who are controlling us.
You very much believe in privacy rights. You're very much, I mean, you don't want to flaunt things in people's faces.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of guy that does. I'm not a big exhibitionist at all. I think that, you know, some people don't like porno, and it should not be in their faces. I've always been very uncomfortable with some people who make porno movies that want to say, oh, this is free speech, you know, and I'm out there and I'm just talking about it all the time. That's not me. You know, I make my porno movies for the people that love porno. They're my fans. They're the people I make it for. For some other people that want to get more publicity and stuff, that's not interesting to me. I don't want porno to be in the face of people that don't want to see it.